So much, guys, for coming. This is Fursuiting Beyond the Con. I'm Kijani. A little bit about myself, if you don't know me. I've been fursuiting in public for about 6 or 7 years or so, pretty much ever since I joined the fandom. I've done a little bit of everything, community events, charity events, parades, even private events as well. I organize and run Rainfurrest Strike, which I know a lot of you have been to. It's one of the largest fursuit bowling meets in the world right now. It takes place right here in Seattle every 3 months. And about a year ago, I founded Emerald City Critters, which is a nonprofit, Washington State registered nonprofit organization for basically just costume character performance, pretty much fursuiting, but in a public setting. And we had a really successful first year. We got into about 5 or 6 pretty high-profile events and got a good membership base going. So I'll be talking about that a little bit as well. But as far as this panel goes, I'll start by posing a question. Why do we fursuit, especially in a public setting? What is so great about it? What draws you into it? Anybody?
Smiles.
Smiles, yeah.
Just bringing joy to the masses.
Yep, exactly.
Or scaring the shit out of the little kids.
Yeah, that too. Well, that's fun. Comes with the territory, right?
Fun.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. So yeah, smiles definitely. It's a really addictive feeling. Once you go out there and you bring that smile to that child's face and you bring joy to others, you want more of it. It's crazy, and it's really a win-win situation because you're making their day, and of course to do that to someone else, it really makes you happy as well as a performer. So it's really a good situation for everybody. Now, what are some differences between fursuiting like in a convention environment such as here versus fursuiting out in public? Can anyone name some? Yes.
Here we're all furry, so everybody expects it, everybody is familiar with it, everybody knows what's going on. Out in the public, people see us and they go, what in the heck is this all about? What are you guys doing?
Right.
Here too, a lot of times too.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's here in a convention environment, it's a very controlled environment. People, as you said, people expect to see fursuits. I hate to say it this way, but you're kind of like another face in the crowd here. But out in the public, a lot of people have never seen anything like that before. So you're gonna have to be very prepared. And also in a situation like here, pretty much everyone is your spotter because they've seen suits before. They know how it is around fursuits. So it's a much more controlled environment. So yeah, we'll talk more about specific public things later. But okay, so how do you get started? In my opinion, the most important thing to think about, even more so than the venue, is your crew, the people you're going out with. You need to, first of all, never fursuit alone. I know people have done that before, but it's not recommended. And always have handlers. Handlers are your most important piece of the crew that you put together. Make sure you have at least, I'd say 3 to 6 dependable people, people you can trust. Ideally, people that have public fursuiting experience, because we all know those people that say they're going to show up at something and then flake out. Probably don't want to go out with them either. So as far as handlers go, though, the most important thing that the handlers are your performers' eyes and ears, as well as spokespeople for your group as well, because most fursuit characters do not speak in costume, as that breaks character. So really, it's the handler's job to field the questions from the public and also watch out for potential pitfalls and stuff like that. And you will get a lot of questions when you're out in public because people don't expect you being there. The most common one that I found is just the basic, why are you there? What is this for? Are you guys part of a group? And it's best to have a prepared answer for that, because if you're kind of stammering, like you don't know what to say, it could come off as pretty bad. So a great answer for that, if you're just out, having a good time, is you are freelance mascots. I heard that a while ago. I use that one myself. That's a great answer. People understand. They know what mascots are. And I've even had people say, oh, we're just out having fun, bringing smiles to people's faces. We enjoy doing this. It's a hobby. That's a great answer as well. You also get what kind of animal, what kind of species is the character, and those are pretty simple. It's good to have little like character badges too. If people ask what your name is, it's right there. Let's see what else. Yeah, okay. So handlers, watch out for potential dangers. Handlers are to be the bodyguard for the fursuiter, pretty much. Just to make sure that their main job is to protect the performer in any way. As far as groups of people to watch out for, I found out when you're in public, I think within a people group, this is like preteen boys are the worst. If you see a big group of preteen boys, tread with caution, because they're of that age where they can pretend that the performer is, you know, a cartoon character come to life, but a lot of them will try to prove that they're really tough to their friends, and they'll, you know, they can, you know, gang up on the fursuiter. So be very careful around that. Handlers, if you're out in a large group, like say more than just a few fursuiters, you need to try as best you can to keep that group together, because it's so easy for part of the group to go forward, or actually what happens is the stragglers in the group could stop for a photo, and then all of a sudden they're all over your space, and it can get a little tough to keep control of everyone. So that's also the handler's job. Attend to the performer's needs. You know, if they need to take, if they have an emergency and they need to take their head off or go back or get some water. Also manage breaks too, because if you're out for a long session, it's not expected to go out for an hour, 2 hours straight without, you know, any sort of a break. So in that situation, you should use hand signals to communicate the fursuiters and the handlers. Like say a good one is, you know, if you want to check the time, you know, just point at your wrist. And, also, like say if you need help, you know, wave the paw up, or maybe your hand across the throat means, you know, you need attention. Make sure everyone's on the same page is what those signals mean. And oh yeah, I have a talking in suit story. A few years ago, we did a private party for a group of foster kids that were celebrating their birthday at a bowling alley, and it went really great. We were bowling with the kids, and then, you know, making them enjoy their day a little bit. Well, I'm normally pretty good about this, but I was bowling and we were getting excited, and I accidentally said something, in my suit, and I didn't know that one of the kids was directly behind me at the time. So for the next 20 minutes, all I heard was, "You talk! I heard you talk! Say something!" You know. So yeah, be very careful about that. Okay, so let's see. Any points? Yes.
I was just going to comment on that too. A lot of people will speak in character when they're at an event like this, but probably the biggest difference that I've noticed between like the furry event and outside is that there's people I know that like never stop talking in their suit when they're here. But the minute they get into the public, they will never say a word. Yeah. And it's for reasons like that. Yeah. Because and the biggest problem is that if you say something, even if you're just a single character saying it, you are now making it as if all the other characters there can speak as well. So now all the kids care about is whether or not you can speak. And they don't care what you're performing, what you're doing. They won't play into games anymore quite often, I've found. So yeah, if you're going to be the one that speaks in suit, my suggestion is check with the other characters that might be there with you that day, because they might not like you to do so.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a totally good point. It's a completely different world here and being in public. So as far as, okay, let's talk about choosing a venue next. Say you're new to this and you want to go out and you know, try public suiting for the first time. What are some good suggestions? My suggestion would be something like a public park is a great place to start. First of all, obviously it's a public area, so you won't get like, you know, booted off like a mall or something, or just like maybe a stroll downtown. You know, just get a group of friends out and you know, try it out. It's good practice for public interaction, because parks, obviously there's a lot of kids, a lot of families there. Okay, there's public spaces versus private property. This is huge. I know a lot of people like to do the guerrilla fursuiting, where they just kind of, you know, put their suit on and just go out on a limb and do that. And I've done that before too, but you have to be really careful when you do that, because say you wanted to go to like a Walmart or something, any store or any mall is generally private property, and private property has no mask policies. And what that means is basically if you can go in there and your face is covered in any way, they have every legal right to ask you to remove you from the premises or take your head off, and obviously you don't want to do that.
What's the going today?
You can get into a mall, it's possible, but you have to, it requires very careful planning and communication with usually it's the security people that you have to talk to. And you have to bring express written consent from whoever is in charge. Because a few years ago we did a Halloween outing at a mall, and you know, Halloween, of course everyone's dressed up in costumes, right? Well, this particular mall we went to still had, for adults, you couldn't cover your face. And the person that was organizing this meet did have the consent from the security person of that mall that we were going to be there, but she didn't bring it on Halloween, so we actually were asked to leave. We could not perform on Halloween at that mall because of that. So yeah, use that as a lesson. If you wanted to be in a more controlled environment, or maybe you just wanted to have some fun with your friends in public, bowling is great. Fursuit bowling, and a lot of you have done that. There's a lot of fursuit bowling meets all around. Mini golf. The thing with meets like events like that, though, is you want to make sure that there is definitely some changing space, because you don't want to change in the bathrooms, especially in like a bowling alley, yeah. And especially if there's going to be any more than a handful of suitors.
Also, you have to make sure that you ask the people that run the bowling alley whether or not you can have your feet paws on when you're bowling.
Yes,
Some
yes.
bowling alleys for liability reasons,
Mm-hmm.
but the underlying reason is they want you to buy the
rental shoes, yes.
Yeah, our local bowling alley in La Habra, they don't mind us using their feet paws, but we have to pay for these shoes even though we're not using them.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, but it's not that much, like $4 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
I'd rather do that than be, so I can get a suit and have my feet paws.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yes.
You had mentioned mini golf. Mini golf is actually a lot of fun. It's a great way to do public suiting, but you got to make sure that they're fursuit friendly, because in the Sacramento area, where my furry group is, we went through we called 3 different places before we finally found a place
Really?
that was fursuit friendly. Yeah, most of them don't want you in there.
Uh-huh. Is it an indoor or outdoor?
It's an indoor.
Oh, indoor, yeah.
The place
I can see that, yeah.
is very fursuit friendly. In fact, they love having us there because we drum up business for them. The kids love us, so they bring more people in.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, the mini golfs, there's a few mini golfs around where I live, and they're all outdoor, so it's generally fursuit friendly. But yeah, I can see if it's indoor. And also about the bowling thing, at least in my experience, part of the issue is actually that the foot paws can damage the approach areas. That's the problem with managers of bowling alleys. That's their main concern. Actually, most of them around here will let you bowl in your feet paws, provided they are clean and and won't mark up. They're not wet. Also, that would be bad. But yeah, just make sure there's some sort of changing space. Most bowling alleys, almost all of them, have some sort of a party room or a meeting room where you can just kind of rent it out, or have it closed off and use that as kind of a headless break area. Also, things like, how many of you have fursuited at like a Ren Fair or a anime or comic convention before? Probably a lot of you. Yeah, good portion of you. Those are good too. Obviously, a more controlled environment.
Make sure you have handlers.
Yeah, make sure. Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of them don't have places to change out in, so you have to plan ahead of time. Have somebody bring water, a backpack or something, water, because they don't have any support for it.
Oh yeah.
No change, headless lounge, nothing, no water.
Oh, there's no headless lounge? I've never actually been to one of those. So that's
a lot of cosplayers aren't full suits,
right,
so
right.
they don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yes.
I was just going to comment that it's like you said, they're not prepared for the way we are. Headless lounges are a luxury. The fact that we have those here is amazing. The very most they're going to have is going to be like a anime cons. I found it's quite nice because they'll have a place where you can change and you can check your bags for a fee. So expect to bring money for that. But then you have, of course, you have to check your bags, and it's usually not the same area. They'll have like a change area, and then the bag check is like across the convention hall. So you'll normally have to change, take your bag and all your stuff, give it to them, somehow keep your tag, so have something to put your tag into, and then you can go and suit. And then every time you want to take a break, if you're lucky, you might be able to do so in the bathroom or something else. They do not have fan units.
You need somebody with
It's
you.
brutal.
This is not, well, it's brutal by our standards, but it's completely standard by most other conventions. So, yeah, just expect that if you're going to do it at other ones.
And if it's a paper tag, make sure you put something so that you sweat it.
Make your own.
Yeah, I'm part of the 501st Legion, and whenever we have a panel or a booth or something, we actually make them give us an area to make our own change space so that we can have a place to do this. Because it's so consistently never provided, so,
Yeah, it's very important. Okay, so, let's talk about getting involved in your hometown. There's organized events pretty much all around the year, especially nearly all cities and towns, especially if you live near a large metroplex like the Seattle area. Just about every town around here has some sort of a summer festival, and a lot of them have parades as well, and also during the wintertime, around Christmas time, you'll find that a lot. That's a great way to get involved. For example, I live in Bothell, Washington, which is about half an hour from here, and they have a city festival that started in 2000. We started performing there in 2008. And actually, I think we just showed up that one year, and then they loved us so much that they kind of expected us back every year. A lot of the people that were at that festival were like, "Oh, you guys, I remember you guys from last year."
Is it Riverfest?
Yeah, Riverfest. Unfortunately, that isn't around anymore, but they're going to hopefully start it up again soon. As far as parades go, those are a lot of fun. I know a lot of you have done parades before. Just be sure to register for the parade in advance. Don't just show up. There's a sign-up process on the website.
They're not always free either.
Oh, not really, they're not.
Vancouver, you quite often have to pay for a parade.
Oh,
entry,
maybe that's a
so-
Canadian thing.
Well, we have big parades.
I've never had to pay for a parade.
We go into the procession, the species parades.
Oh yeah, yeah. That
the
was
one
an
in
exception. That
Bellingham.
one you can just show up.
Yeah,
That's
the
a
one
lot
in
of fun
Bellingham, you
too.
can just show up.
Yeah, I've done that one before. There's one in Bellingham. There's also one in Olympia, I believe, the procession one. That's in May.
Olympia's rough.
Those ones are nice because it's not very hot.
Yeah.
Our local ones, they're always in the middle of July and August, and it's just too hot to go.
Oh yeah. A lot of this. Yeah,
But
that's right.
processions are early.
Isn't a good time
Very
of the year.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. May rain on you, but within a 30 you don't know.
Yeah, a lot of parades around here are on 4th of July, the weekend of 4th of July, and a couple of years ago we did the Bothell one, and it was 92 or 95 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did that in
That
Auburn,
was
but
pretty,
it's 99.
and even for around here, that's really, really hot, so yeah, that wasn't a lot of fun. Okay, also charity events and fundraisers are great. Those happen almost every weekend as well. For you being a fursuit character, the most sense, the ones that would make the most sense would be charities that benefit, kids or animals, stuff like that. But really, just find an organization, if you want to get involved with that, find one that you feel strongly about in any way. Maybe you had a relative or something that is, suffering from cancer or some disease, find a cancer-related charity.
The city website will probably have the information, but if any doubt, you can always check with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, Charity Chamber, that's a really good resource as well, yeah. And when you think about it, if you do like a gig for a homeless dog shelter, I mean, would they love having dog food fursuiters there? I mean, it's a natural fit, and if you present it that way, they'd really enjoy that, I think. So once you've chosen that you want to go out and do something like this, how do you contact those organizers? How do you make that first step? That's the problem that a lot of people have. The biggest suggestion I can have is to build some sort of a portfolio. Preferably photos and video, but at the very least just photos of your group or yourself performing in public and interacting with people. So you can show them this photo and they're like, this is what we can do for you guys. This is what we're going to look like when we're out there. Because you can describe it all you want, but they're not going to be ready for it unless they can see it. If your group is brand new, at least have photos of the costumes. Even if it's like something from a convention or something, that's fine, as long as they can see the costumes, what they're going to look like. Let's see, what else? Yeah, when you make that initial reach out to them, very clearly explain what you intend to do. And use also very easy to understand positive terms like a great one is mascot character. Everyone understands what a mascot is. It's an animal mascot character, or even something like life-size cartoon animals is great. Something that's brings out a very positive image. I wouldn't definitely don't use any furry buzzwords like fursuit. They're not going to understand what that. They're not going to know what that means most likely.
Or we're still associated with that damn CSI episode.
That's true. Yeah. You don't want to bring up any association with that. I'm actually going to talk about that. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring that up. I would never. When you're performing in public, it's best to separate that identity from the furry fandom. It's unfortunate, but unfortunately, negative connotations about furry and fursuiters do exist and are believed by a lot of people. Fortunately for me, I haven't really had that in any of my experiences. I think maybe once in maybe the 6 years I've been doing this, people have actually made that connection, and they actually had a very positive image of what furry was. So that's nothing. It hasn't been bad for me, but it is out there. I would never bring it up, but if it is brought up, I think it would be okay to say, some of us do this as a hobby. It's a great way to network and meet other costume performers. And don't focus on what you're not. Don't get defensive and say like, oh, we don't do this. We're not part of this. Instead, describe your group as what you do. We go out. We like to entertain others. We are character performers, and we like to bring smiles to people's faces. That's what we do. That's what we are. That's really all you need to do for that. State that you will be performing for fun and not seek compensation. That's kind of a big one because when you approach some sort of festival organization and say, we want to do this, a lot of them will assume that you want to get paid for it, and that might be a point that will make them decline you. It's great to get paid to do something you love, but especially when you're first starting out, if you're seeking to get paid for it, I think you're doing it for the wrong reason. Really. If that opportunity arises down the road, that's great. But
and it does sometimes.
It does. Yeah, it can.
I'm a good example of that.
I do a zoo near me, and they provide a lunch and drinks.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. It doesn't have to be monetary. A lot of times they'll take good care of you and feed you.
Yeah. If I may, Kijani, I was going to say, when you're saying don't see compensation, completely accurate. I agree with you in every way. But sometimes there's events that really want to do something for you. Like they actually feel wrong that you're there doing this on your own money and everything else.
That's right.
So they'll try to like give you money or something for doing this. My suggestion is give them something they can provide, like you just said, like a lunch or something. It's like, I'll tell you what, get us some lunch, we'll be incredibly happy. We'll be like, oh, we can do that.
That's right, yeah.
And but yeah, it's better in some ways.
That's right. By compensation, I really meant monetary.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, you want to make sure that they take care of you. Absolutely. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but let's see. Let's go on to. Oh yeah, actually that was my next point. Changing space. You want to make sure that they have some sort of setup that you can use for changing space, whether it's like a room that you rent out. A lot of times they won't have that. Like if it's a smaller festival, they just simply won't have that. So you're going to have to formulate your own plan. And there's a number of ways you can do that. Obviously, don't just run into the nearest store's restroom and then use that. The worst case scenario, changing the parking lot, or if there's a covered parking garage, that's even better. There's a little bit more cover there.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I got a Honda Element that's got suicide doors, so I can open it up and I hang a sheet.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, if you have a large vehicle like that, that's possible.
I just stick the sheet on the car with magnets. Get a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is where your handlers become another really good use, which is a wall.
Yep.
Yeah. You have a lot of handlers to make that wall, but yeah, that's one way to do it.
I've had parades with absolutely nowhere to change, and you just have all of the parade entrants just stand around you with their backs to you while you change. It works though. Wow. It works.
Yeah. If you have no provisions for that kind of stuff, also $50 at Cabela's will get you a pop-up private tent.
Yep. That was one of my suggestions. You can bring your own tents. Also, there's like 10 by 10 canopies you can get at sporting goods stores too. Just pop one of those up.
Yes. Canopies though. We have the Furbicues, the spring and fall Furbicues, and I set up a canopy and then I cover the sides with tarps so it's enclosed somewhat. So make sure that they leave one wall open and you do contact the park, like if you're in an open park area, because a lot of parks don't allow enclosed changing areas because they should be doing other fairly things in it, which is not what we're using it for.
Right, yeah.
But I've had a lot of problems with it. They say, we can't have it enclosed. Well, we gotta have a place to change. We can't change in the restroom. Explain their situation. Usually they're okay.
Yeah.
They did just the main stipulation is once they're done changing, you have to open the door and one facing out so they can see what's going on.
Wow, that's very interesting. I've never run into that problem before.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have in California.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Well, see, they had a situation at a golf course where people put tents at each one of the holes and they had hookers in each one.
Oh,
It's pretty bad.
Talk about hook shot.
Wow.
So everybody has to assume that's what's going on.
Yeah, I guess. Oh my gosh. Another way to do it is to rent out a room at a local facility like a library or office building if there's one nearby. It can get expensive though, so be careful of that. And also, a good way to do it, we've done this before for Bothell Riverfest specifically because I live pretty close to the festival grounds. We had everyone meet up at my house. We changed up there, and then our handlers drove us over to the festival grounds in suit. So if there's someone that lives kind of close by to where you guys are performing and there's no change space, that's another option.
Or buy a house.
Or, yeah. Yes.
I was going to say, something similar to that for parades that can be really handy because there's almost never change space.
Oh, almost never.
Although they will have a tent normally, I've noticed. They'll have like a mascot change tent that But you can't leave your stuff there, and it can be really inconvenient when you've got 10.
Yeah, because you got to take your tote back, you know,
Yeah.
it's not secure.
What we've done in the past with 501st anyway, we rent a shuttle bus and do very much what you just said. And we have the shuttle bus meet us at the end of the route, because that's another thing to consider with parades.
Yes.
Is that, you know, you can't drive cars the parade route in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Certainly in my group you can't. So you need to have someone ready for you. Shuttle buses are good.
Yeah,
option.
shuttle buses are good. If you have a friend that owns an RV or a larger vehicle like that, that's another option. Yeah.
I'll tell you what works really good is a toy hauler. Because it has the facilities in the front and the back is wide open. You can rent it for $100.
As long as the cops
Yeah.
won't check you. Yeah.
Yeah. Just haul it in there and it's like all kinds of room inside.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Always act courteous and professional. You're going to get turned down. It's going to happen. As I was starting out with Emerald City Critters, I was looking to get into our first really big event, and I got turned down probably 3 or 4 times before we finally got into our biggest event, which was last May. We got into the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure here in Seattle, which was a really, really big event. And so just keep trying and don't give up, you know. For some reason, for whatever reason, some organizations won't see you as a perfect fit for what they're trying to do. But
One day we'll get into Seafair.
Okay, so prepping for performance is the next section. My biggest thing is always be prepared as much as you can. Scout the venue in advance once you know you're going to be in. Get there, you know, before you actually have to perform. Know your exits. Just scout out the entire area because every area there's potential pitfalls that you have to, you know, watch out for when you're out there. Also break locations too. Like if there's like a little alcove or something that as you're going through you can pull the fursuiters out and, you know, have them pop their heads off, get some water. That's perfect.
Yeah, when I'm supporting other fursuiters, I've got a backpack I bought at the it was Target. It's an ice chest backpack. It's got the foam on the sides. It's completely sealed except for the zipper around the lid. I'll load it with water and Gatorade. And it'll keep ice for several hours.
Oh, excellent, yeah. Yeah, and also, what we use in our group, there's like one of those shoulder bag coolers too.
Yeah.
Something like that will work. Let's see. Formulate a plan or route and follow it as closely as possible. I'm one of those people that whenever I go out to do an event, I like to be, I don't like any surprises once I'm out there. I like to have everything, you know, pretty much planned out because it's never going to go exactly how you plan it. The less surprises you have, the better. For example, our biggest event of the year annually is Issaquah Salmon Days, which is actually next weekend. So I'm getting ready for that. But basically, it's this huge festival in the city of Issaquah, which is about half-hour east of Seattle. And it celebrates the starting of the salmon run through the streams there. And we are contracted to be in 2 different areas. There's the Field of Fun, which is like the kids' area. There's bouncy houses and vendor booths and stuff for kids. So we fit right in there. And also, there's like a stage area, which is live music plays on a stage, and there's like vendor booths and stuff like that too. So we have to occupy those 2 areas. And a few years ago, we also had to occupy the salmon hatchery, which is clear on the other end of the festival. And it was, I'm not sure why I volunteered to do that, but it was very inconvenient and very difficult. So I had to figure out some kind of plan where we can have suitors occupy all 3 of those areas at the same time and still give everyone their breaks and rotate out. So what we did is, from the stage area, we actually had one of our handlers drive his truck, and what he would do is he would pick up the fursuiters that were done at that stage, bring them all the way to the hatchery, and bring the hatchery people back to our home base, which is near the Field of Fun, every hour or so, every 45 minutes. So it was really complicated, but we made it work. The biggest thing is also make sure you have break areas at every location you need to be at if you're at multiple locations. Yeah, handlers, make sure they're carrying bottles of water or Gatorade, and if you have those sport bottles with the long straws, those are really good too. Yeah. For that as a suggestion, because a lot of times those Gatorade bottles, they won't fit into your muzzle, so
I get the small, the 12-ounce ones.
Mm-hmm, yep.
And I buy a whole bunch of them other than the size, but those you can buy a variety and just throw in a whole bunch.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, I just bought some at Costco actually.
Yeah,
those 12 ounces.
You can get them, sometimes Walmart have them on sale in huge packs of like 24. They're different varieties, and you buy those too sometimes.
Definitely straws, don't ever shove a Gatorade bottle in your muzzle, because I broke a set of teeth.
Oh, yeah, do that.
And also, Camelback makes a really cool backpack that has, it's a very slim design, so it's only 2 liters in there. It's only about this thick, and they make it into a nice little backpack that you can slip under your fursuit.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
What if somebody squeezes you?
I was gonna say, in my opinion, if you are performing and you feel the need to be hydrated in the middle of performing and you're using a Camelback to do that, you probably should be taking a break rather than actually using a Camelback.
That's right.
I mean, like, especially in public, people get, you've more or less made a strong impact after about 30 minutes out there. And if you spent more than that out there, most of the time you're seeing the same people over and over again, so you might as well go and take a break and get water rather than carrying a Camelback.
Yeah, that kind of, it also detracts from the character too, to have it back.
Exactly. You're better off with that. That's why I always say, don't bother with Camelbacks. You're better off just have a nice water bottle with ice and everything else in your break area. So.
Another thing about Camelbacks, and I actually seen this happen once, is a fursuiter actually had it under his suit. Somebody went for a hug, and he nearly drowned.
That's another reason not to do the Camelback.
You feel like a sponge.
Okay, so let's do a little demonstration here. When you're fursuiting in public, you're going to be performing around kids a lot. That's going to be the big draw to you. I mean, obviously adults too, but the kids have that ability to pretend you're a cartoon animal. So I'm so glad we have one fursuiter here, I think. So when you pop your head on real quick. Okay, so I'm going to pretend I'm a little kid, and I'm kind of interested in interacting with you. What is the wrong way to approach me?
Hey, this is Brady Cheese.
That was great. Okay.
That's
exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah,
the natural impulse when you see a kid is, oh my gosh, it's a kid, I'm so excited, I'm going to hug you. That's about the worst thing you can do, because you're going to seriously freak that kid out. To a little kid, you're going to be a big, giant, hulking, although he's cute as heck, right?
With claws. Yeah,
he's going to be really...
But you're not the kid, so...
Yeah. Make sure you just get down to their level, you know, and just kind of wave and let them come to you. That's a good sign. Hold out your paw, something like that, and eventually they'll warm up to you. Some of them are a little more shy than others. So in case you have that really shy kid, maybe they're scared and they really don't want to interact with you, but you want to try to win them over. How would you do that as a performer?
Get rid of the parents.
That's great, right here, right? That's what I'm looking for right there. If you act shy in return, the kid will sometimes warm up to you and say, oh, this animal is scared of me, why am I scared of it? I have no reason to, yeah. Another good way is to interact with the parent as well, because a lot of the kids are attached to their parents. So if you can interact with their parent and say hi and maybe give them a hug or something, and they'll oh, okay, well, this thing is.
Often the parents are the ones that try to coax their kids to warm up to it. So.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the kid's freak. So those situations is when you kind of act cowardly, like you're afraid and back off because you don't want the situation to escalate.
Yeah, that's true. In that situation,
I run away.
Yeah.
You run away.
Seriously, that diffuses the situation.
Yeah, if they're really scared, yeah, you probably just want to
I use the handler as a shield.
Yeah. This is actually a situation where your handler can come in real handy, because you can actually hide behind your handler.
That was my next tip. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, that was the very next one. That's a great tip. If you have a handler, act scared and hide behind the handler and kind of peek out, do that cute thing, and a lot of times they will warm up to you if you do that.
Especially if your handler's named Riot. You're Riot Shield.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have. Thank you very much for the demonstration. Okay, this should be common sense, but make sure your suit is clean and doesn't smell of 3 days of convention funk when you go out there in public.
Skin cells.
Yeah. Make sure it smells good and is presentable. If you're going to be out there for a long session, bring multiple changes of clothes. That's a very good tip I learned, especially Under Armour. You guys all know what Under Armour is, right? Definitely a plus. Use that. So maybe halfway through your session or so, just go ahead and go to your break area and change out. I told this story at BLFC, but I'll tell it again. A few years ago at Halloween, We did a very long session. It was probably about 3 hours or so, and I was just constantly, you know, hugging kids and interacting with them. Well, towards the very, very end of the session, I reach in for a hug for this kid, and then she goes, "Mommy, the line's all wet!" I'm like, oh boy. When that happens, you know it's time to quit. But then the mom came back with the best response I have ever heard. She goes, "Of course he is, hon. He's been swimming." Thanks, Mom. That was a good one.
Avoid sharing them with love.
Yeah, and don't do it. I saw a friend of mine, Cooney, did, and like grabbed a kid and like hug him.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Yeah, if you know you're starting to get wet, kind of, you know, just be sure, you know.
Some of the kids with clothes are 2 shades darker.
Yeah. Okay, so this last section, how are we doing on time here? Now I got 15 minutes. Okay. So this last section, I titled it "For the Ambitious." This is going to be talking about basically if you want to create your own costume performance organization, how to go about doing that, like I did. So if you want to do that, if you want to start planning to do public performance, you know, regularly or semi-regularly, it will really help to have an official name to go by. That's really important because it creates a sense of not only solidarity in your group, but it makes it more reputable as well, but it also makes it easier for you guys to introduce yourself to a prospective organization or charity. It's like, you know, instead of we are just a bunch of friends that love costume performance, we are Helping Cause. We are Critters by the Bay. We are Emerald City Critters. You know, this is us. It's our identity. It really will help you get in.
Usually something about the location.
Yeah, it usually is, yes.
Just a little recommendation on that note. I was originally part of a group called the Wild Rose Critters. But the Western faction of that, it was based out of Calgary, but I'm from near Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
We decided to split off from them, but one of the things that we actually did was we chose a new name that's more descriptive of what we do, and we found that it's gotten us way more gigs. I'm part of NAMP, which is the Northern Alberta Mascot Performers.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
So, if you're gonna try and sell yourself as a mascot performer, try and incorporate it into your name so it's more descriptive, and so.
Yeah, that's a good.
Okay, what's Wild Rose Critters? What do you do? Is that a petting zoo?
Right, yeah, that's a good point, because I've actually, since I founded Emerald City Critters, I've gotten like mail from like veterinary people. It's like, you know, I don't even know. But yeah, no, if you have the word mascot in your name, it should be very obvious what you guys do.
Also try and keep a very high level of professionalism.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you want?
Yeah,
That'll get you invited back to events.
Right. Yep. This is the big thing to remember is when you're out in public, especially if you're with your own organization, it's not a fur meet anymore. It's something completely different. You have to treat it that way. If you're really ambitious, you can trademark the name and register as a nonprofit organization, which is what I did. I did not do the 501c3. Not a very few mascot or fursuit-based mascot organizations do that because one is very expensive, and 2, you need to have a certain amount of money flowing through to make it worth it. And especially right now in our first year, we haven't quite had that. So, but I did register as a Washington State registered nonprofit, so we do have those benefits. The fees vary from state to state. For me, it was around $100 to get all the titles and everything I needed for that. A suggestion I make for your own organization is do not make it open invite. I mean, I'm sure you might have a lot of people that are interested in doing this, but you just really want to make sure that you know and can trust every single person that you are performing with. It's so important because, as you all know, one incident just will ruin your organization, and it's going to be really hard to come back if something does happen. Background checks are optional. We used to do that, and I actually found out was it Critters by the Bay does not do background checks, but they legally could help you if you ever get asked for that, because you're going to be performing around kids. You want to make sure that people in your organization are qualified to.
It also helps if you decide to get insurance for your group.
That's required for insurance. What I do is I have some sort of an application process to apply for my group. I pretty much accept everybody, but basically I want to find out why they want to be a part of our group. Why do they want to join? There's 2 different answers to that. One of them is I just want to put on a fuzzy dog costume and do crazy things in public and make a fool of myself. That's probably not the person you want in your organization. A better answer would be something like, you know, I want to make people smile and help charities and events achieve their goals. You know, something along that lines. That's really the goal of what you're out there. Because you have to remember, when you're performing for an organization, you are working for them. You're not working for yourself. You need to do whatever you can to help them achieve their goals and why you're out there, pretty much. Also, don't expect to make money or a profit, even if you're a nonprofit organization. In our first year, we actually were $120 in the negative because there's a lot of expenses that go into running an organization, as far as promotional materials, like actually.
If we get paid, it's usually in Gatorade.
Right, Gatorade or
muffins.
Yeah, food. Oh yeah, I had some badges made. These are really good for your. These are dual-sided. They have our logo on the bottom. One of them says Official Critter Character. Now, I actually just ordered jerseys for our organization. They were supposed to come in before Rainfurrest started. They came in like yesterday, I think, so I haven't picked them up yet. But, so we're not going to use this side anymore. This, however, will be required for all our handlers. It says Official Critter Handler and our logo. So if the handlers wear this, it's very clear that they're part of our group. And yeah, as I said, jerseys are great. They're kind of expensive though, so you have to put some money down for that. I got them for about $20 each, which is pretty cheap for a jersey. Usually they're $25 to $30. Yes.
Slightly cheaper option that we actually do with NAM is we have very large bandanas with the name and our logo on it.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. As long as you have something that will, you know, solidify your group with the logo and the name. That's
yeah. Allow you to spot the crashers.
What's that? Yeah, that's the thing.
That
yeah.
does happen.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I haven't had anything like that. But yeah, I've heard horror stories of people trying to crash furry events and just showing up and pretending they're part of the group. Yeah, that's a bad thing. Does someone else have a question back there? No. So yeah. Oh yeah. Also, the jerseys are good for not only bringing you guys together as a group, but also protecting the suits, because you know those kids will have sticky fingers. They'll be holding ice cream or whatever when they face paint. Yeah, when they're trying to hug you, and it's much better to get it on the jersey than on your costume. It's
my chest looks like Darth
much easier to wash. Yeah.
And I'm just I want to have a clean suit. I want to clean. I mean, I don't want badges. I don't want to have a shirt on.
You're not a canvas. Yeah.
Right.
So, Oh, I see what you're saying. Like it takes away from the character to have a jersey on. Yeah, that is true, and that's something I wrestled with a little bit because.
Maybe the jersey's transparent.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going out in public and you're not with a group, you don't need to do anything, put a jersey on or a shirt on or anything like that. But
an ice cream washes out.
Yeah, it does. It does wash out. Yeah, it's a little bit of effort.
I've done color runs where they throw colored powder at you. Washes right
oh, you've
out.
done those?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
No, it just washes out instantly.
Wow. Yeah, that's more than I would want to do to my suit.
No, they're really fun.
Cool. Okay. As far as getting your name out there, make a website. We found it's really helped us. Bandwidth is actually pretty cheap nowadays. My site, I go through I think iPage, and they charge me like maybe $1 something for the first year, and. Yeah, it's really important to have your name out there. Increase your social media presence as well. Facebook and Twitter is the way of the future, pretty much. It's a really good way to keep in contact or keep in touch with people you want to perform for. The hardest part about all this is getting off the ground. Once you get into that first event, a lot of times you'll find that it will snowball into other events. A good example is Salmon Days, the one I talked about earlier. We've been official entertainment at Salmon Days since about 2010, so I think this is going to be our 5th one, I believe. And the city of Issaquah, who runs Salmon Days, they do a lot of other events as well. And after our involvement with Salmon Days, we actually got invited back to do their 4th of July festival this year, which went really well. It's kind of the same thing. There was a little kids area in the park, which is the same park they use for Salmon Days.
It was spacious.
So, yeah. Oh yeah, you went there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I would live closer.
What's that?
If it was closer, I would so
it was closer, yeah. But yeah, once you get in, and you know, they'll, especially if they're, it's all about connections. If they know people or know other events that you guys can take part of, they'll definitely shop your name around and you can get involved. more. And biggest thing to remember is it is quite, if you're going to try to do your own organization, it is a commitment. A lot of us have full-time jobs or families and things like that. And I would love to do more than I am right now, but I'm so busy. You know, I'm limited to about 5 or 6 events a year, because it does take a lot of work to organize these once you get the ball rolling and have everything set up. So, yeah, that's about all I have. Does anyone have any questions? Or yeah.
I have one point. You talked a bit about how to introduce yourself to children and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you touch a bit more on the liability of interacting with children? I won't ever pick a child up.
Oh, yeah, I fully forgot to, yeah,
And,
I knew there was more I wanted on this, actually.
yeah, I think covering that would be a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so more interacting with kids. Never, yeah, as she said, a lot of times people will ask to take a young baby or a small child. Never under any circumstances take the child, because you don't have the optimal dexterity with your hand paws, and if that child slips and hits the ground, the babies don't bounce very well. Especially you don't want to take that chance. So there's a couple different ways to. What I would do is I would just sit down would be good, or just non-verbally say no, I don't want to take it. Or someone else suggested earlier was when they reach out to give you the kid, just kind of pose with them for the photo like that.
Exactly.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I got handed a kit once that had, I think, 5 or 6 tubes coming out of it.
Yeah.
5 tubes?
Yeah,
Oh,
tubes.
oh
Yeah.
wow.
That was a night at the zoo.
Oh, okay.
It was for children that spent most of the time in hospital, and
Oh,
one
I
night
see, yeah.
they bring them out to a zoo.
Yeah, those are great events if you can involve
Oh
with.
God, I love those.
Yeah, anything children's hospital related, yeah, that's something we plan to do in the future for sure.
The only exception I could
It's
think of.
definitely worth it.
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah, it does. And again, it's also some of the hardest events to get into because of the security and the checks and everything.
A night at the zoo isn't that hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's true. I was talking about actually getting into it, like a children's hospital.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Children's
Yeah.
hospital, not worth even trying.
Not even worth
Most of them
trying.
Will not let you in.
Yeah. You have to be
But
really.
outside events like at zoos or parks or stuff like that, those are usually fairly easy to get in, and it is a wonderful feeling when you put a smile on a
It certainly is. Yeah. That's why we all do this. Yeah. In the back.
Something I heard, when interacting with a child, make sure that both your hands are visible.
Yes, that was my next point. Yep, absolutely. Make sure your paws are visible. Yeah, because what you don't want is you don't want your paw in like a inconspicuous location, and they snap a photo of that can be used against you. And it looks really bad too. So yeah, just make sure your paws are visible at all times.
Yeah, unless you miss the kid running at you, and it runs right into your crotch.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about that though. So, yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Were you gonna say something?
Well, the only exception I could say about picking up children is if you are actually in like a professional photo shoot setting where you're sitting down, it's like the Easter Bunny setting. The one thing I could recommend, because some parents are not always graceful with their kids, I have to say that. But the one thing you should always be, whether you're sitting down or if they catch you standing up, is if they do put that child in your hands, get as low to the ground as you possibly can.
Yes.
Support the child with your knee like this. And parents don't mind getting down for a low picture. This is especially true if you're in a crowded venue because you got people whizzing by you. Hopefully you'll never get in a situation like that. But if they're in a situation where it is acceptable, and there's only far in between, but just stay low to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, yeah, he's done a lot of professional gigs. Do you have to sign like a liability waiver or something before you do that? Those type of events?
No, those are usually pre-arranged settings for holidays and whatnot. They pretty much have that packed down. But in case you find yourself almost involuntary, because there are parents like that, it was like you got to just get low to the ground, be as safe as possible, because every now and then, it's rare, but sometimes in a place where it's not warranted, the parents will, you've got some forceful parents who just don't have a clue. But at the same time, if they're already in transit and you don't see it, because not all costumes have that kind of visibility.
Yeah, some of those costumes are really bad.
Yeah, just get in, get in that carrying mode and just get down the throat. Even though they're trying to negotiate, it's like this is not proper for it. Keep them steady, keep real steady. It will happen.
Yes.
The only time I ever actually knocked a child over was when I was in suit, and she was very short, and she was actually standing on my foot. But since it's all foam, I had no idea she was standing there, and her head was in front of my knee. And I didn't look down, and I stepped forward, and she just fell. But
Yeah.
luckily it was on the grass, and she just started laughing.
Oh,
but
gosh, good.
Now,
Yeah,
now
that's
I always look in front of my feet before I step
Yeah,
forward.
definitely. That's also on your handlers too, because that's something that you need to definitely watch for is the really young kids. Because
Yes.
you know, as as fursuiters, our visibility is kind of like this. If there's a really young child in front of us, we're not going to see that. You know, it's a good practice to always look down, but you know, we're not always.
In all costumes, your chin areas.
Yeah, so it's really important for your handlers to watch for that and let the suitor know, you know, however way they want to, that there's a child that wants to interact with them that's, you know, right by their feet.
Right.
So that doesn't happen. Yeah.
Well, I went to a Beacon Hill Festival, you know, Seattle. Would that be a place to wear a fursuit?
Yeah, those are great. Those little
Beacon Hill
festivals.
area?
Yeah, I haven't been to that one, but yeah, those are great. Those little street festivals you're talking about?
Yeah, it's in Anderson Park. I mean,
Oh, yeah, okay,
Jefferson
yeah.
Park.
Yeah, those are really good. Yeah, we've done those all the time. Yeah.
You know, another one's really good. I didn't go. I think also got some pictures of it. The San Diego Fursuit Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah, Renaissance fairs. Yeah, those are really good. Because I know quite a few people that have done Ren fairs before, and they're very welcoming to fursuiters in general. Okay, any more questions? Anyone else? Okay, if you guys are local and you are interested in Emerald City Critters, I have some business cards up here. You can feel free to take one. We're always looking for more volunteers. Yes?
What's local?
What? Oh, just Seattle area, sorry. Oh, the local is greater Seattle area, within 30 miles of here, pretty much.
Are you willing to drive?
Yeah, and if you're willing to drive, it's even better. Yeah.
I wish I could.
Yeah. So, okay, thanks a lot, you guys. I appreciate it. Hope you learned something. Thank you.